We are running.
If I were to tell you what I know about this YouTube channel would be banned. Is like a super boost to your immune system. The key thing is understanding, what are you doing? The technique is not what you're doing. What you're doing is using a tool. It has this beautiful transformative effect. That's something everyone can do, even when you're in lockdown. Mark Twain said, there are liars, damn liars, and statistics. Well, what does that mean? It means that you can do anything with statistics and manipulate them if you're clever. And I'm not trying to say there's any nefarious purpose here. I'm just saying that people who try to speak with more certainty than they should about something that we have a fraction of 1% of the public that's been tested on something that's this contagious is sort of, you just got to take it with a grain of salt, honestly. Which is why they're assuming, the reason we're all on lockdown or social distancing is that they're assuming everyone potentially has it and doesn't know it because they don't have enough test kits. The reagents have been faulty. The CDC first batch of test kits in this country didn't work. I mean, it has been the most epic governmental failure that I've seen in my lifetime as a medical doctor. And that includes the horror of the 80s and 90s with the HIV crisis. But that's, as I said, that's water under the bridge. So what do we do now? And that's really kind of what I want to now kind of segue into. I certainly think we are in for some rough stuff for several months or a year, only because I think this pandemic is going to take that long to run its course. And we're probably going to, unless we're very lucky and in the summer it dies down and doesn't reemerge, but we don't know that yet. We don't know how this is going to behave. You can't predict that this will do that just because other viruses have. So the fact is, it could be a pretty rough period for a year or more. What my larger concern is that the havoc it will play in society in terms of the economy and unemployment. What I'm hoping is that people will be able to get back to normal in a few months. But I think if we do, people should be prepared in every way, everything I mean by that, for real preparation, that there could be a second wave that could even be more virulent than this first one. So, you hope for the best and you plan for the worst is what all emergency doctors do. And so that's just sort of my motto. You hope for the best and you plan for the worst. Everyone listening, I don't want to be alarmist, but I'm just going to tell you that there's a great deal more known about this. And I think that that's kind of water under the bridge, i.e., where did this come from? How did it emerge, et cetera, and so on. We have to deal with the hand we've been dealt, and it's out in the community now. The consequences of it are going to be devastating from a public health point of view, but I think from a societal point of view, with the numbers of people who are laid off, unemployment possibly going up above what it was in the Great Depression, and I think that's a possibility, may have a more devastating effect socially and civilizationally, and how we live and our livelihoods and what have you. But that's where we are. And I don't control the edicts from the federal or state government. I'm here to tell you as a doctor what the reality of this is and how you can respond to it, but also to respond to it in a way that keeps yourself not panicked at all and in a positive state of mind so that you stay strong and you stay healthy and your immune system is enhanced. And as I said, exercise is key to that. Good diet is key to that. Avoiding, bad drug use and smoking cigarettes in particular. I think the deadliest drug there is out there by far is cigarettes. 50,000 people die of overdoses of other drugs in this country every year, but we lose about 500,000 people from cigarette smoking every year in this country. In the United States, around the world, China, it's even worse because China is now the worst users of, most abundant users of cigarettes, because we got everyone in the world addicted. American tobacco companies got everyone addicted to the damn horrible stuff. So be very careful about that. And I think the other thing is, from my perspective, before I was a medical doctor, some people in the 73, 74, 75, and what I learned was that there's this amazing immune response and strengthening of the immune system that happens when you go into deep meditation, which is actually more powerful than sleep. So the meditative state and connecting to this expansive aspect of ourselves that's conscious, that actually is really strengthening to ourselves physically as well as mentally, psychologically, spiritually. So the meditative faculty, the ability to sit and be quiet and meditate and go into a deep state of relaxation and connect to that aspect of awareness that is beyond your individuality, which is actually infinite. That's what samadhi is when you have a very deep meditation. But even some sense of that, where you become calm and centered and feel relaxed and expanded, that is like a super boost to your immune system. And it also creates field coherence with the people we're with, but all over the world. And, this is one of the things that everybody will see on April 7th when Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind comes out. That we talk about what back then, sort of comically, was called the Maharishi effect, because what they did is we sent people into cities and localities where 1% of the population were experienced meditators who knew how to meditate and go into deep, quiet meditation. And when they did that, let's say the city had, 200,000 people. So that means you'd have 2,000 meditators in the city synced up meditating, deep meditations and prolonged. What they found was that hospital admissions went down, violence went down, shootings, crimes of all kinds went down. There was a field coherence that went out through that whole city, even though the other 99% of the city didn't know those people were in the city. They didn't even know they were there. So it wasn't because there was social media saying, oh, there are all these people meditating, isn't that cool? No, they were not there. This was back before there was social media. And these studies have been done in other settings and proven that there is this beautiful field coherence where things become aligned and coherent, very positive, when more than one person, groups of people, meditate together in a certain number. And it turns out the threshold number for that seemed to be very effective was about 1%. It's not like a polling booth. You don't need 51% to win the election. This is 1% you win the election, because you then create this harmonic, coherent field that is affecting everyone in your society. We can overcome it because there's no point panicking in fear, because the power of consciousness in the mind and people working collectively is much more powerful than a virus and much more powerful than any weapon that any people have ever created, and that we can transform the human future, but also kind of save ourselves by being connected to each other in this beautiful meditative state. I think after the film comes out and we have this new app and people can get trained and practice, there is something to practicing meditation. It takes some time to get your vibe going with it, but it's not difficult. You do that on a regular basis. You can do breathing exercises as well before or after you do the meditation, say with a mantra or a little prayer, or whatever you like using. The key thing is understanding, what are you doing? The technique is not what you're doing. What you're doing is using a tool to allow yourself to settle down and become centered and calm, where you feel connected to this great ocean of unbounded mind. And when you have that experience, and it begins to grow subtly sometimes at first, it is so liberating, and it's also very enhancing to your immune system, your body, your life, your inner guidance, your happiness. Take care of yourself. Really learn to meditate and take this time where you're not having to dash around in your day-to-day life to practice deep meditation and do it with other people if you're with people already, or you can do it in a way that's with social distancing with people, whether it's electronically or people that or that in your area where you keep a social distance and can sit together in quiet meditation and do this. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in your living room if the weather's bad. You can do it in your backyard. You can do it anywhere. that will really strengthen our civilization, but it'll strengthen your immune system, as I talked about before, because when you go into these deep meditative states, it's a very healing, amazingly healing thing to do. But it also strengthens your whole mind-body complex so that you are more resistant to.
We are running out of time. What are you going to do with the time you have left? I say that if you don't reposition yourself, you could miss the best time in your life, in this season of life. Because we have got to change the way we think. We have got to change the way we function. We have got to change the way we deal with issues. And the reason that you have to begin to reposition the way you think and the way you function and the way you feel is that we many times are stuck between the lines of limited thinking and limited people and limited ideas and limited philosophies, and there's something creative down inside of you saying, let there